Welcome to Lesson 3 of mySci, Unit 18, Our Dynamic Earth. In Lesson 3, students will answer the question, how are fossils formed and what do they tell us about the distant past? Students will build on their previous learning about how maps are models that can be used to observe patterns in Earth's features. They will explore how Earth's features change over time. In this lesson, they will investigate fossils as evidence for a changing Earth. They figure out that fossils can be found in rock layers and that patterns where fossils are located can be used as evidence of changing Earth landscapes. In the engaged portion of this lesson, students will read the book, Where Do Mountains Come From, Mama? This is a Read Aloud book. The Read Aloud guide can be found in the teacher pages. The Read Aloud guide can be used to elicit student ideas about the processes that form different Earth features. Next, students will create their own fossils. Students will use a mixture of plaster of Paris and water as the medium to form their fossils. They will pour the milkshake-like substance into small aluminum pans and apply petroleum jelly to their shells using a paintbrush. Students will gently press the shells into the plaster of Paris, being careful not to press them all the way to the bottom. They will let them harden for an hour before removing the shells. In the Explore portion of this lesson, students will consider how we can use fossils to tell us about Earth's distant past. To begin with, they will explore the fossils over time simulation. The simulation should be projected on the board in present mode. With each click, a rock layer is deposited and a fossil is formed within each layer. Students should observe that the oldest rock layers and fossils are found at the bottom of a rock sequence, while the youngest are found at the top, having been formed most recently. To deepen this idea, students will interact with the Layers of Time fossil game. Students will work to put rock layers in the correct sequence using fossil evidence found in each layer. In the Explain portion of the lesson, students will read Fossils Tell of Long Ago. This is a Read Aloud book, and the Read Aloud guide can be found in the teacher pages. The Read Aloud guide can be used to reinforce ideas about the formation of rocks and fossils, and how they can be used as evidence for what the Earth looked like at different points in time. Students will also watch a video to deepen their understanding about this idea. Next, students will analyze patterns in the fossils in 3 different rock sequences and answer questions in their student journal. In the Elaborate portion of this lesson, students will consider what the Earth's surface used to look like millions of years ago. They will begin by observing the shape of the Earth's continents and using this as evidence for how the continents may have at one time been configured. Next, students will observe the Earth's continents with fossils included. They will use the fossils as evidence for how the continents may have once been configured, revising how they originally constructed the puzzle. Next, students will compare their puzzle to maps of Pangaea and determine whether the models look the same. Students will also compare their Pangaea puzzle to today's Earth and discuss how fossil patterns provide us with information about how Earth's features have and continue to change. Lastly, students will obtain information from a video resource in order to complete analysis questions about the formation of Pangaea on the Exploring Our Changing Earth student journal page. In the Evaluate portion of this lesson, students will complete a formative assessment. Students will analyze the layers within a rock sequence to determine the age of various layers and what information the presence of fossil tells about the location over time. By the end of this lesson, students will have observed and described the formation of fossils, identified the presence and location of certain fossil types and indicated the order in which rock layers were formed, and identified evidence from patterns in rock formations and fossils in rock layers to support an explanation for changes in the landscape over time.